The days until the release of the second part of the third season of Bridgerton are numbered, and we are just about to discover whether the identity of the infamous author Lady Whistledown will be revealed or not. And since I know you are as eager to find out as I am, I have decided to make this video where I will tell you how Penelope Featherington became Lady Whistledown. If you have come to this video, it is because you already know part of the story. However, it is worth mentioning that what I will tell you next could be spoilers for Bridgerton Season 3 and are definitely spoilers for Romancing Mr Bridgerton. As we already know, Penelope was a girl marginalized in London society. She was a victim of bullying and for years only received looks of indifference from those around her. She was constantly underestimated and not given the opportunity to show her true personality, charisma, and cunning until many years had passed. Therefore, many people were not aware of how astute, witty, and intelligent Penelope could be if she put her mind to it, as they only judged her by her physical appearance. Well, I retract. People could admire that cunning and intelligence, but they didn't know she was the one who possessed it. Penelope's birth as Lady Whistledown occurred during her first season in 1813, when the girl was only 17 years old. She didn't intend to become a famous writer, for God's sake. She didn't even dream of getting into that mess. But that first year in the marriage market had been a complete hell, and she found herself venting her feelings using pen and paper. And one thing led to another. It all happened by chance. Penelope was an overweight teenager whom her mother dressed in yellow dresses full of ruffles and other frills, making her look even plumper than she already was. This made her a victim of ridicule and laughter, making her completely unhappy. So one day, after having one of the worst nights of the year at one of those ridiculous high society balls, she decided to write a rather scathing description of the event. Then, after attending another party, she repeated the pattern. She didn't write it with any intention other than to entertain herself by mocking all those hollow and superficial people who mocked her so much. She didn't sign them as Lady Whistledown, much less as Penelope. At that time, they were just a couple of loose sheets hidden in her room's desk. But everything changed one day. Her mother had gone shopping with her 3 sisters, and she, taking advantage of their absence, decided to sit in the main living room of the house to write. A few minutes later, she took a break to go to the bathroom, and upon returning, she found her mother's lawyer. The man had arrived unannounced and was engrossed, reading Penelope's scandalous assertions about London high society. The girl, of course, was in shock, completely mute and horrified. This wasn't supposed to happen. No one was supposed to read those sheets. If those writings came to light, it would be a scandal. But then, something happened. The man began to laugh, but not because he thought she was a fool or that everything she had written was trash. On the contrary, he believed that everything Penelope had written was really good. Finally, someone was aware of the talent she had, even if it was writing horrid things about horrid people. All those people she had written about were popular, influential people. Lords, counts, viscounts, dukes, and most of them hated her just for being who she was, without even having given them a reason for it. But then Penelope knew, and she knew at that precise moment she no longer cared if those people knew what she had written about them. After all, it wouldn't change anything since they already treated her badly. What did worry her was that all of this would lead to her ruin, and with her, drag her family down. The lawyer, still charmed by the wit and sagacity with which Penelope wrote, proposed to make it public under a pseudonym that would keep her true identity hidden, and thus Lady Whistledown was born. Penelope agreed, and it was he who took care of organizing the printing and distribution of the sheets. He devised a marketing plan that consisted of distributing the magazine completely free during the first 2 weeks of publication, with the aim of giving readers a taste of what would later become the sensation of society. Then, when everyone had the ironic words of Lady Whistledown at their fingertips, and they became an addiction, they didn't object to paying for the subsequent editions. Lady Whistledown's society magazines became a huge success, but what really set them apart from the other London gossip sheets was that the enigmatic Whistledown didn't shy away from expressing her opinions, naming each and every one of her victims by name and surname. The lawyer and partner fell ill and died years later, but before he died, he gave Penelope the opportunity to retire, asking her if she was sure she wanted to keep the magazine going. That was an unprecedented opportunity for her. She could have left Lady Whistledown at that moment, and perhaps no one would have ever known the name behind the scathing words of the famous author. However, Penelope decided to continue. At that time, she had nothing interesting to do with her life. She was still single with no marriage prospects, and living as Lady Whistledown through her writings was the only excitement in her life. The lawyer's death was a hard blow for Penelope, who even considered him a second father, and after his death, she had to take care of all the magazine's administration. This wasn't very complicated, as he had left everything well organized, so monthly, Penelope only had to keep in touch with the printer and receive the money in a discreet account in her name where the payments were deposited. The money accumulated over the years, as she had no way to spend it without raising suspicions. One day, having already been Lady Whistledown for 4 years, a great-aunt of the family died, leaving her house and some money as an inheritance. Penelope then took the opportunity to withdraw part of her savings and pass them off as part of that inheritance, giving it to her own mother, who never suspected anything about the mysterious and unknown fortune of the great-aunt. In the following years, she made donations to charities anonymously and saved part of the profits. With her marriage to Colin, the possibility of spending that money without raising suspicions became real. As being a Bridgerton, no one would find it strange that she suddenly had more money than before. Although Colin was not the eldest of his family, and therefore had not inherited the bulk of the Bridgerton fortune, it was well known that Anthony had set up good funds for his siblings. Penelope, however, decided to save the money for her future daughters, convinced that it was important for them as women to have their own money. Remember that if you like this kind of videos, you can support me by leaving a like, subscribing, and activating the notification bell. See you in a next video.